Imagine being diagnosed with a disease, but no one tells you. Worse still, they withhold the cure. That's exactly what happened in the Tuskegee Syphilis Study. Conducted by the US Public Health Service, the study aimed to observe the natural progression of untreated syphilis in African American men. These men were never informed of their diagnosis, and even when a cure was discovered, it was intentionally withheld. This 4-decade-long experiment led to devastating health consequences for the participants and their families, ultimately sparking a dramatic shift in our ethical guidelines. Prisons are notorious for their harsh conditions, but what if a university became one? Welcome to the Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, psychologist Philip Zimbardo transformed Stanford University into a simulated prison. The goal? To unravel the psychological effects of perceived power. Volunteers were divided into guards and prisoners, but the experiment took a dark turn. Intended to last 2 weeks, it was terminated after just 6 days. The reason? Extreme psychological distress and abusive behavior. Zimbardo, who played the role of prison superintendent, became so engrossed in the experiment, he initially failed to recognize the severity of the abuse. The Stanford Prison Experiment raised serious ethical concerns. It showed us how easily ordinary individuals could transform into abusive figures of authority when given power. The experiment was a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked authority and the vulnerability of the human psyche. How far would you go if someone in authority told you to? The Milgram Experiment tested just that. Psychologist Stanley Milgram wanted to understand obedience to authority. Participants thought they were giving real electric shocks to another person, increasing the voltage despite cries of distress. But here's the twist. The shocks weren't real, and the person in distress was an actor. The experiment raised eyebrows about deception in research. Milgram's study underlines the power of authority and the ethical lines blurred in the name of science. War is a horrific event, but what if it was used as a cover for unspeakable human experiments? Enter Unit 731. Run by the Imperial Japanese Army during the Second World War, this unit was responsible for some of the most gruesome human experiments known to history. Thousands of Chinese, Korean, and Allied prisoners were subjected to conditions that can only be described as nightmarish. The scientists performed vivisections, tested biological warfare, and forced infections on these helpless individuals. The experiments were so secretive that even today we have only a fragmented understanding of what truly transpired within those walls. In an unexpected twist, the members of Unit 731 were granted immunity from war crimes prosecution by the United States. The cost? The data they had gathered from their cruel experiments. The ethical implications of this deal remain a subject of heated debate. Unit 731 stands as a dark reminder of the lengths some will go to for knowledge, even at the cost of humanity. Fear is a powerful emotion, and conditioning it in a child, that's the premise of the Little Albert experiment. In the Roaring '20s, psychologists John B. Watson and Rosalie Rayner sought to condition fear in a young boy known as Albert. The psychologists paired a harmless white rat with loud, startling noises, a process that eventually led Albert to associate the rat with fear. Over time, this fear extended beyond the white rat to other similar stimuli, a phenomenon known as the generalization of conditioned fear. This experiment has been widely criticized for its ethical implications, as the potential long-lasting psychological impact on Albert was not taken into consideration. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of ethics in scientific research. As we reflect on these controversial experiments, the importance of ethical guidelines in scientific research cannot be overstated. They serve as our moral compass, reminding us that the pursuit of knowledge should never compromise human dignity and well-being.